The morning started like any other ordinary day at Liverpool Children's Hospital. Nurse Sarah Johnson walked through the quiet hallways carrying her medicine tray. She had been working at this hospital for 15 years and knew every corner of the building. The walls were painted in cheerful colors to make the children feel better. Cartoon characters smiled down from the ceiling tiles, but today something felt different in the air. Sarah noticed strange movements near the main entrance as she passed by the large windows. Men in dark suits were standing around looking very serious. They wore earpieces and kept talking into their sleeves. These were not the usual hospital visitors or delivery people. Hospital director Mr. Robert Chen was pacing back and forth in the lobby. He kept checking his watch and adjusting his tie. Sarah had never seen him this nervous before. In the pediatric ward on the third floor, 8-year-old Emma Thompson was lying in her small hospital bed. She had been fighting a rare blood disease for 6 months now. The sickness made her very weak and tired all the time. Her blonde hair had started falling out from the strong medicines, but Emma still had the brightest smile and loved to draw pictures of castles and princesses. She dreamed of meeting a real princess someday. Emma's mother, Mrs. Mary Thompson, sat in the uncomfortable chair beside the bed. She had dark circles under her eyes from not sleeping well for months. Every night she worried about her little girl. Every day she prayed for good news from the doctors. Her husband worked 2 jobs to pay for the medical bills. The family had used all their savings and still needed more money for Emma's treatment. Next to Emma's bed was 10-year-old James Miller. He was recovering from his 4th heart surgery. The doctors had to fix problems with his heart that he was born with. James was a brave boy who never complained about the pain. He loved football and dreamed of playing for Liverpool team when he got better. His room was full of football posters and get-well cards from his classmates. Down the hallway in another room was 7-year-old Michael Brown. He was the youngest patient in the ward. Michael had lost all his hair because of chemotherapy treatment for cancer, but he still wore his favorite superhero pajamas every day. He told everyone that superheroes don't need hair to be strong. His parents took turns staying with him at the hospital. They read him stories and played games to keep his spirits up. The morning routine continued as usual. Nurses checked temperatures and gave medicines. Doctors made their rounds visiting each patient. Children ate breakfast from colorful plastic trays. Some watched cartoons on small televisions. Others played with toys brought from home. Parents tried to stay positive for their children, even though their hearts were breaking. But something was definitely happening downstairs. More security people arrived. Hospital cleaning staff were asked to make sure everything looked perfect. Fresh flowers were placed in the lobby. Even the elevator buttons were polished until they shined. The kitchen staff prepared special snacks and tea service. Nobody told the families what was going on. Sarah finished her medicine rounds and returned to the nurse's station. She asked her colleague Nurse Patricia about all the unusual activity. Patricia whispered that she heard from security that very important visitors were coming, but she did not know who they were or when they would arrive. The mystery was making everyone curious and excited. In her bed, Emma was coloring a new picture. This one showed a beautiful princess in a blue dress standing next to a handsome prince. She used her favorite crayons to make the princess dress sparkle. Emma often imagined what it would be like to meet real royalty. She had seen them on television during special ceremonies. They always looked so kind and elegant. As the clock struck 10 in the morning, the unusual activity increased. More people in suits appeared. Hospital staff were given special instructions. The excitement was building, but nobody knew what was about to happen. The children continued their daily routines, completely unaware that their ordinary Tuesday morning was about to become the most extraordinary day of their young lives. Outside the hospital, black cars were approaching. The moment that would change everything for these brave little fighters was just minutes away. At exactly 10:30 in the morning, 3 black cars pulled up to the main entrance of Liverpool Children's Hospital. The first car stopped right in front of the glass doors. Security guards quickly stepped out and looked around carefully. They spoke quietly into their radios, making sure everything was safe and ready. From the second car stepped out a tall man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Prince William wore a simple navy blue suit and looked relaxed despite all the security around him. Right behind him came a beautiful woman with long brown hair flowing over her shoulders. Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, looked elegant in a soft pink dress that seemed to glow in the morning sunlight. The hospital staff who were waiting inside could hardly believe their eyes. The Prince and Princess of Wales had come to visit their small hospital. Director Robert Chen walked forward to greet them with shaking hands. He had practiced what to say many times, but now his mind went blank. William smiled warmly and shook his hand, firmly putting him at ease immediately. Kate looked around the hospital lobby with genuine interest. She noticed the colorful decorations and children's artwork on the walls. Her eyes were soft and caring as she took in every detail. This was not just another royal duty for her. Something deeper had brought them here today. She carried a small gift bag in her hands and held it close to her heart. The couple had specifically asked for no cameras or reporters today. They wanted this visit to be private and personal. Usually royal visits involved lots of media attention and formal ceremonies. But today was different. Today was about connecting with children who needed hope and love more than anything else. As they walked through the hospital corridors, their presence seemed to change the whole atmosphere. The fluorescent lights seemed brighter. The usual hospital sounds of beeping machines and busy footsteps became quieter. Even the strong smell of cleaning products could not cover the warmth and positive energy they brought with them. Nurse Sarah was the first hospital worker to see them coming down the hallway. She had to lean against the wall for support because her legs felt weak with surprise. She had never expected to see real royalty in her workplace. William nodded to her politely, and Kate gave her the most beautiful smile she had ever seen. The security team was much smaller than usual. Only the most necessary guards accompanied them. William and Kate had insisted on keeping things simple and informal. They wanted to spend real time with the children without too many people watching and taking notes. Hospital staff quickly spread the word through whispered conversations. Doctors stopped their rounds to catch a glimpse of the royal visitors. Nurses peeked around corners trying to see them without being obvious. Everyone was amazed and excited, but tried to stay professional and calm. What nobody knew was the real reason for this surprise visit. 3 weeks earlier, Kate had received a very special letter. It came from Mary Thompson, Emma's mother. The letter was written on simple notebook paper with a blue pen. Mary had poured her heart out, describing her daughter's battle with illness and her love for princesses and fairy tales. The letter was not asking for money or special treatment. Mary just wanted to share her daughter's story with someone who might understand. She had written about Emma's dreams of meeting a real princess and how those dreams kept her strong during the hardest days of treatment. When Kate read that letter sitting in her private office at Kensington Palace, tears had filled her eyes. She showed it to William immediately. They both knew they had to do something special for Emma and all the other brave children, fighting battles too big for their small shoulders. The royal couple had spent days planning this visit in secret. They worked with hospital staff to make sure they would not interrupt any important treatments or procedures. This was not about publicity or royal duties. This was about two parents reaching out to other families who were facing every parent's worst nightmare. The real story began 3 weeks earlier on a rainy Thursday evening at Kensington Palace. Kate was sitting in her private study going through the Daily Mail. Most letters were formal invitations and official documents. But one envelope caught her attention. It was addressed in simple handwriting on cheap paper. The return address showed it came from Liverpool. Kate opened the letter carefully. Inside were 3 pages written in blue ink by a worried mother. Mary Thompson had written about her 8-year-old daughter Emma, who was fighting a rare blood disease. The words were simple but filled with so much love and pain that Kate felt her heart breaking as she read each sentence. Mary wrote about how Emma loved to draw pictures of castles and princesses. Even when she was too weak to get out of bed, Emma would ask her mother to tell her stories about brave princesses who helped people. The little girl dreamed of wearing a real crown and living in a fairy tale where everyone was happy and healthy. The letter described Emma's daily struggles with the strong medicines that made her sick and tired. Mary wrote about watching her daughter's beautiful blonde hair fall out piece by piece. She told Kate how Emma would look in the mirror and pretend she was still a princess even without her hair. The brave little girl would say that real princesses are beautiful on the inside. Mary was not asking for money or special favors. She just wanted someone to know about her daughter's courage and dreams. She had heard that Kate was a kind person who cared about children. Mary hoped that maybe the princess would say a prayer for Emma or send a signed photograph to brighten her hospital room. The letter ended with Mary saying that Emma often talked about meeting a real princess someday. The little girl believed that if she stayed strong and brave long enough, a fairy tale miracle might happen. Mary wrote that she knew this was just a child's dream, but it gave Emma hope during the darkest days. Kate finished reading the letter with tears streaming down her face. She immediately called for William to come to her study. When he saw his wife crying, he rushed to her side, worried that something terrible had happened. Kate handed him the letter without saying a word. William read every word carefully. His own eyes filled with tears as he learned about Emma's story. As a father himself, he could imagine the pain that Mary and her husband must feel watching their child suffer. He understood how desperately parents would do anything to bring hope and happiness to their sick child. That night, Kate and William talked for hours about Emma and her family. They discussed all the children who were fighting similar battles in hospitals across the country. Kate could not stop thinking about the little girl who dreamed of being a princess while fighting for her life. The next morning, Kate made a decision. She would not just send a photograph or a signed letter. She would do something much more meaningful. She called the hospital director and arranged a private meeting. Kate explained that she wanted to visit Emma and the other children without any media attention or formal ceremony. Hospital director Robert Chen was amazed by the request. He had never received such a personal call from a member of the royal family. Kate spoke with such genuine care and emotion that he knew this was not about public relations or royal duties. This was about human compassion and the desire to help suffering children. Kate and William spent the next 2 weeks planning the surprise visit. Kate personally went shopping for special gifts for each child in the pediatric ward. She researched their interests and conditions to make sure each present would be meaningful and appropriate. She bought art supplies, games, books, and toys that would bring joy during long hospital days. William practiced magic tricks that he remembered from his own childhood. He wanted to bring laughter and wonder to children who had seen too much pain and worry. He worked with a professional magician to learn simple tricks that would be easy to perform in a hospital setting. The royal couple also arranged for special treats to be brought to the hospital. They ordered pizza and ice cream for all the families. They wanted parents to have a moment of normal family fun with their children. Kate remembered how important these simple pleasures had been during difficult times in her own life. On the morning of the visit, Kate woke up feeling nervous and excited. She chose her outfit carefully, selecting a soft pink dress that would look friendly and approachable to children. She wanted to seem like someone the kids could trust and talk to easily. William wore his most comfortable suit, knowing he would be sitting on floors and hospital beds. As they drove to the hospital, Kate held the special gift bag tightly in her hands. Inside was a beautiful tiara that she had chosen especially for Emma. It was not made of real diamonds or gold, but it sparkled like magic in the light. Kate knew that this simple crown would mean more to Emma than any expensive jewelry. When Prince William and Kate walked into the pediatric ward, the whole room became completely silent. The children who were awake stopped what they were doing and stared with wide-open eyes. Parents looked up from their chairs, unable to believe what they were seeing. Even the nurses stopped in the middle of their work. Emma was coloring a picture of a castle when she heard the unusual quiet. She looked up from her drawing and saw 2 people walking toward her bed. At first, she thought she might be dreaming because of the strong medicines she was taking. But as they came closer, she realized this was really happening. Kate approached Emma's bed with the gentlest smile. She was even more beautiful in person than on television. Her brown hair shined under the hospital lights, and her pink dress seemed to glow with kindness. William followed behind her, looking tall and friendly with eyes that sparkled with warmth. Emma's mother, Mary, stood up quickly from her chair. Her hands were shaking and tears were already forming in her eyes. She had written the letter weeks ago, but never expected anything like this to happen. She tried to curtsy, but her legs felt too weak to move properly. Kate sat down carefully on the edge of Emma's hospital bed. She took the little girl's thin, pale hand in her own warm hands. Emma's hand felt so small and fragile, but Kate could feel the strength and courage inside this brave child. William pulled up a chair close to the bed so he could be at Emma's eye level. Emma's voice was barely louder than a whisper when she asked if Kate was really a princess. The little girl's blue eyes were huge with wonder and disbelief. She had dreamed of this moment so many times, but never believed it could actually happen. Kate's eyes filled with tears as she smiled at Emma. She said that while she might wear the title of Princess, Emma was the bravest and most beautiful princess she had ever met. Kate explained that real princesses are not defined by crowns or castles, but by the courage and kindness in their hearts. Then Kate reached into her special gift bag and pulled out the sparkling tiara she had chosen for Emma. The crown was not made of expensive diamonds, but it caught the light beautifully and seemed to shine with its own magic. Kate had spent hours looking for the perfect one that would make Emma feel like true royalty. As Kate gently placed the tiara on Emma's head, the little girl's face transformed completely. Her pale cheeks turned pink with excitement and joy. Her eyes lit up brighter than any star. For the first time in months, Emma looked like the happy, healthy child she was meant to be. Emma reached up with shaking hands to touch the crown on her head. She could hardly believe it was real. She looked at herself in the small mirror beside her bed and gasped with delight. Even without hair and despite being so thin from illness, Emma looked absolutely radiant wearing her princess crown. William watched this magical moment with tears in his own eyes. He had seen many touching scenes during royal visits, but nothing had ever moved him like watching this sick little girl's dreams come true. He cleared his throat and began to speak in his warm, gentle voice. William told Emma that he had brought something special for her too. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small magic wand decorated with silver stars. He explained that this was a real princess wand that would help her stay strong during her treatment. Emma took the wand with trembling hands and waved it in the air. She said she could feel the magic working already and that she was not as tired as before. Kate and William exchanged glances, knowing that sometimes the most powerful medicine is hope and joy. The little girl's mother, Mary, was crying so hard she could barely speak. She kept saying thank you over and over again. Kate stood up and hugged Mary tightly, understanding the overwhelming emotions of a mother whose child was suffering. They held each other as tears of gratitude and love flowed freely. Emma asked if she could show Kate her drawings. With great pride, she displayed all the pictures she had colored during her long hospital stay. There were castles and princesses and magical gardens full of flowers. Kate admired each one, carefully praising Emma's creativity and talent. William asked Emma what her favorite fairy tale was. The little girl's face glowed as she told him about Cinderella and how the poor girl became a princess through kindness and courage. William nodded seriously and said that Emma's story was even more beautiful because her bravery was real, not just in a book. Kate promised Emma that she would hang several of her drawings in Kensington Palace so that everyone who visited would see what a talented artist Princess Emma was. The little girl could hardly contain her excitement at the thought of her artwork decorating a real palace. As they continued talking, Emma's energy seemed to grow stronger. The magic of having her dreams come true was giving her strength she had not felt in weeks. Her mother watched in amazement as her daughter laughed and chatted like a normal, healthy child. After spending precious time with Emma, Prince William decided it was time to share some magic with all the children in the ward. He stood up and announced that he had learned some special tricks just for them. His hands were shaking slightly with emotion, but he was determined to bring laughter and wonder to these brave young fighters. William pulled out a small red ball from his pocket and began his first magic trick. He made the ball disappear and reappear behind 10-year-old James Miller's ear. James clapped his hands with such excitement that his heart monitor started beeping faster. The nurses smiled, knowing that this kind of excitement was the good kind that showed joy, not danger. The magic show continued as William made coins vanish and pulled colorful scarves from his sleeves. Children from other rooms heard the laughter and slowly began to gather around. Some were in wheelchairs pushed by their parents. Others walked slowly carrying IV poles with medicine bags hanging from them. But they all came to see the real prince performing magic just for them. Kate moved gracefully from bed to bed, spending individual time with each child. She sat with James and listened to his dreams of playing football for Liverpool when his heart was completely healed. Kate told him that she was sure he would be the best player on the team because champions have hearts full of courage just like his. Next, Kate visited 12-year-old Sarah, who had been in the hospital for 2 months recovering from a serious accident. Sarah loved to read books, but had finished all the ones her parents could afford to buy. Kate promised to send her a whole library of new books and asked Sarah to write her letters about which stories she liked best. In another bed was 9-year-old Tommy, who missed his pet dog more than anything else. He showed Kate pictures of his golden retriever named Buddy and explained how the dog used to sleep on his bed every night. Kate listened with such genuine interest that Tommy felt like his pet was the most important thing in the world. Kate made promises to each child that she truly intended to keep. These were not empty words spoken for publicity. She genuinely cared about every single story and wanted to maintain these precious connections. Her heart was expanding with love for these incredible children who faced each day with such bravery. William finished his magic show and began sitting with different families. He talked with fathers about the challenge of staying strong when your child is suffering. Many of these men had never spoken about their fears and worries, but something about William's gentle understanding made them open their hearts. One father named David told William how he worked 3 jobs to pay for his son's treatment, but still felt helpless because he could not take away the pain. William listened without judgment and shared his own experiences of feeling powerless during difficult times. The 2 men talked like old friends rather than a prince and a common citizen. Kate was now sitting with 7-year-old Michael, the youngest patient in the ward. Michael had lost all his hair from chemotherapy, but wore his bright Superman pajamas with pride. He told Kate that superheroes did not need hair to be strong, and that he was going to beat the bad cells in his body, just like Superman beats the bad guys. Kate was amazed by Michael's positive attitude despite everything he was going through. She told him that he was braver than any superhero she had ever heard of because his battles were real, not just in comic books. Michael beamed with pride and asked if Kate thought real princesses could be friends with superheroes. The magic of the visit was spreading throughout the entire hospital. Staff members who had been working double shifts for weeks suddenly found new energy in their steps. The usual tiredness and stress seemed to melt away as they watched the joy on their young patients' faces. Other families in the ward began talking to each other for the first time. Parents who had been too consumed by their own worries started sharing stories and offering support. The isolation that often comes with having a sick child was replaced by a sense of community and shared hope. Kate spent time with the mothers talking about the guilt they felt when they took breaks or the fear that kept them awake at night. As a mother herself, Kate understood these feelings completely. She shared her own struggles with worry and the importance of taking care of themselves so they could care for their children. The royal couple had planned to stay for 30 minutes, but found themselves unable to leave. Each child had touched their hearts in a different way. Every story was important and deserved to be heard. Time seemed to stop as genuine connections formed between the royal visitors and these extraordinary families. William was now teaching some of the older children simple card tricks. His eyes were bright with joy as he watched them practice and succeed. These children, who spent most of their time receiving medical care, were now able to create their own moments of magic and wonder. The laughter and excitement in the ward was contagious. Even the most seriously ill children seemed to have more color in their cheeks and more light in their eyes. The healing power of joy and hope was working alongside the medical treatments to strengthen these young bodies and spirits. The moment that would forever change Prince William and Kate came when little Michael tugged gently on William's sleeve. The 7-year-old boy had been quietly watching all the joy and magic happening around him. His big brown eyes were full of wisdom that seemed too deep for such a young child. Michael whispered to William that he wanted to tell him a secret. William bent down so his ear was close to the little boy's mouth. Michael's voice was soft and serious as he shared what was in his heart. He told the prince that he was not scared anymore about being sick. The little boy explained that if a real prince and princess came all the way to the hospital just to see him, then maybe the angels his grandmother told him about were really watching over him too. Michael said he used to worry that he was all alone with his sickness, but now he knew that special people cared about him. William's throat tightened as he listened to Michael's innocent words. The child's simple faith and pure heart were more powerful than any speech or ceremony the prince had ever experienced. William's eyes filled with tears that he could no longer hold back. William's voice cracked with emotion as he assured Michael that angels were definitely looking out for him. He told the brave little boy that his courage made him stronger than any knight in any castle. William explained that real heroes were not people in stories, but children like Michael who faced big, scary things with such bravery. Kate had been listening to their conversation and felt her own carefully controlled composure begin to crumble. She knelt down beside Michael's bed and took his small hand in both of hers. The little boy looked so fragile in his superhero pajamas, but his spirit was absolutely unbreakable. Michael looked at Kate with complete trust and asked if she really thought he was brave. Kate's voice trembled as she told him that he was the bravest person she had ever met. She explained that being brave did not mean not being scared, but doing what you had to do even when you were frightened. Then Michael did something that completely shattered the royal couple's hearts. He reached under his pillow and pulled out a small teddy bear that was worn and faded from being hugged so many times. The bear was missing one eye and had patches where the fur had rubbed off. Michael told Kate and William that this was his special bear named Courage. His grandmother had given it to him before she died last year. She had told him that whenever he felt scared or lonely, he should hug Courage tight and remember that she was always with him. The little boy held out the precious teddy bear toward Kate and William. With the most generous heart, he offered to let them borrow Courage in case they ever felt scared about anything. Michael said that since they were helping him feel brave, they might need some courage too sometimes. Kate completely broke down crying as she gently touched the little bear. She was overwhelmed by the pure kindness of this sick child who wanted to share his most treasured possession with them. William put his arm around Kate's shoulders as his own tears flowed freely. Around them, other parents began crying too. Many of them were shedding tears for the first time since their children's diagnosis. The emotional wall they had built to stay strong was crumbling as they witnessed this incredible display of love and generosity. Michael's mother, Linda, was sobbing quietly in the corner. She had watched her son suffer through months of painful treatments, but had never seen him as happy as he was in this moment. The joy on his face was worth more than any medicine or therapy. Kate managed to speak through her tears as she thanked Michael for his offer. She told him that just knowing about Courage the bear made her feel braver already. She asked if she could give the bear a gentle hug before giving it back to its rightful owner. Michael nodded seriously and watched as Kate carefully hugged his teddy bear. William also touched the worn fur gently, understanding how precious this simple toy was to the little boy. They both knew they were holding something that represented pure love and comfort. The 7-year-old then shared another secret with his new royal friends. He whispered that sometimes at night, when the hospital was scary and dark, he would pretend that his grandmother was sending him special dreams about meeting a real prince and princess who would tell him everything was going to be okay. Michael looked directly at William and Kate and said that now he knew his grandmother had been listening to his wishes. He believed that she had asked the angels to send the prince and princess to visit him. The little boy's faith was so complete and beautiful that it took their breath away. William knelt down and promised Michael that he was never alone, and that many people were praying for him to get better. Kate added that Michael's courage was inspiring them to be braver in their own lives. They both meant every word they spoke. The moment was so powerful that even the hospital staff had tears in their eyes. Nurses who had seen many difficult situations were deeply moved by the pure love being shared between these extraordinary people. The healing power of compassion was filling every corner of the room. As Kate carefully handed courage back to Michael, the little boy smiled the brightest smile anyone had ever seen. He hugged his teddy bear close and told Kate and William that this was the best day of his whole life. His innocent joy was absolutely heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. Word about the royal visit began spreading quietly throughout Liverpool Children's Hospital like warm sunlight touching every corner of the building. Staff members who had been working exhausting shifts for weeks suddenly found themselves walking with lighter steps and genuine smiles on their faces. Nurse Sarah Johnson had been feeling burned out after 15 years of caring for sick children. The endless sadness and worry had begun to weigh heavily on her heart. But watching Prince William and Kate show such genuine love and compassion reminded her why she had chosen this profession in the first place. Dr. Elizabeth Martinez was making her afternoon rounds when she noticed something remarkable happening. Children who had been quiet and withdrawn were now chatting excitedly with each other. Parents who had barely spoken for weeks were sharing stories and offering support to other families. In the room next to the pediatric ward, an elderly man named George was recovering from surgery. He had been feeling lonely and forgotten until he heard the joyful sounds coming from the children's area. When a nurse told him about the royal visit, George smiled for the first time since his operation. The hospital cafeteria workers were preparing lunch when they heard about the special visitors. Maria Rodriguez, who served food to worried families every day, decided to make extra portions of everyone's favorite meals. She wanted to spread the happiness she was feeling to hungry parents who often forgot to eat. Even the security guards were affected by the positive energy flowing through the building. Tom Stevens had worked hospital security for 10 years and had seen mostly sadness and stress. Today he found himself helping lost visitors with extra patience and kindness. The cleaning staff noticed that their work felt easier somehow. The usual heavy atmosphere of worry and fear had been replaced by something much lighter. Children were laughing instead of crying. Parents were hugging instead of pacing nervously in the hallways. Kate was now sitting with a group of mothers in the family lounge area. These women had been strangers to each other, despite spending months in the same hospital. The shared experience of having sick children had created invisible walls between them as each family focused only on their own crisis. But Kate's presence and genuine interest in their stories was breaking down those barriers. The mothers began talking to each other about their fears and hopes. They discovered they had been carrying the same worries and could help support each other through the difficult days ahead. Linda Peterson, the mother of 8-year-old Alex who had leukemia, found herself crying as she spoke about the guilt she felt when she took breaks from the hospital. Kate listened with such understanding that Linda felt safe sharing feelings she had kept locked inside for months. Another mother named Carol Williams, whose daughter had cystic fibrosis, talked about the loneliness of watching other families live normal lives while hers revolved around medical appointments and treatments. Kate nodded knowingly and shared her own experiences with worry and the pressure of trying to stay strong all the time. Meanwhile, William was in deep conversation with several fathers in the corridor. These men had been struggling silently with feelings they did not know how to express. The fear of losing a child combined with the pressure to be the strong provider had left them feeling isolated and overwhelmed. Robert Thompson, Emma's father, broke down as he told William about working 3 jobs to pay medical bills while feeling helpless because he could not fix his daughter's illness. William listened without judgment and shared his own moments of feeling powerless during family difficulties. Another father named James Foster, whose son had a brain tumor, talked about the anger he sometimes felt at the unfairness of childhood illness. William understood completely and helped James realize that these feelings were normal and did not make him a bad father. The conversation between the fathers created bonds that would last long after the royal visit ended. They exchanged phone numbers and promised to support each other through the challenging times ahead. The isolation they had all felt was replaced by brotherhood and understanding. Back in the pediatric ward, the children were teaching each other the magic tricks William had shown them. Emma was carefully helping younger patients practice making coins disappear. Her own energy seemed stronger as she focused on bringing joy to others instead of thinking about her own illness. James, the boy with heart problems, was showing Michael how to do simple card tricks. The two boys had become fast friends, united by their shared courage and determination to get better. Their laughter filled the room with healing music. The hospital chaplain, Father O'Brien, had been visiting patients when he witnessed the transformation happening throughout the building. He had seen many acts of kindness over the years, but nothing quite like the ripple effect of love that was spreading from the royal visit. Even families who had not directly met Prince William and Kate were touched by the positive energy. Stories of the visit were being shared with gentle whispers that carried hope and joy to every corner of the hospital. The medical staff noticed that their patients seemed more cooperative and positive during treatments. Children who usually cried during procedures were now talking about their special day with the prince and princess. The healing power of happiness was working alongside medicine to help these young bodies recover. By late afternoon, the entire atmosphere of Liverpool Children's Hospital had been transformed. What had started as an ordinary Tuesday had become a day that would be remembered forever by everyone who experienced the magic of genuine love and compassion in action. As the afternoon drew to a close, Prince William and Kate knew they had to prepare for their departure. But before leaving, they wanted to make promises that would extend their connection with these special children far beyond this single day. What they were about to offer would surprise everyone, including their own security team. Kate gathered all the children who were able to come together in the main area of the pediatric ward. Some were in wheelchairs while others sat on their beds or in comfortable chairs. Parents and hospital staff formed a circle around them, creating an intimate family atmosphere. William stood beside Kate as she began to speak in her gentle voice. She told the children that meeting them had been one of the most important experiences of her life. She explained that their courage and joy had taught her valuable lessons about what really mattered in life. Then Kate made an announcement that left everyone speechless. She said that she and William were not just visiting as royal guests, but wanted to become genuine friends with all of these brave children. She promised that this would not be their last meeting. Kate reached into her purse and pulled out small cards with her personal contact information. She had never done anything like this before in any royal visit. Usually all communication went through official palace channels with formal protocols and procedures. She gave each child a card with her private phone number and email address. Kate encouraged them to write letters or send messages about their progress and recovery. She promised that every single letter would be answered personally by her, not by palace staff or secretaries. The children could hardly believe what they were hearing. Emma, still wearing her special tiara, asked if Kate really meant they could write to her like a real friend. Kate knelt down and assured Emma that she wanted to hear about everything from her medical treatments to her new drawings. Michael clutched his card tightly and asked if he could tell Kate about his superhero adventures when he got better. Kate smiled through her tears and said she could not wait to hear all about his victories over the bad cells in his body. James wanted to know if he could write to Kate about his football games when his heart was completely healed. Kate promised that she would cheer for him from the palace and maybe even come watch him play someday if his parents agreed. William then made his own surprising promise. He said that he and Kate would return to visit, but not for official royal duties or photo opportunities. They would come back as friends who cared about these children's lives and wanted to celebrate their progress. The hospital staff were amazed by these unprecedented promises. Director Robert Chen had never heard of royalty making such personal commitments to patients. Usually visits were one-time events with perhaps a formal follow-up letter from palace officials. But Kate and William were being completely genuine in their offers. They had been so deeply moved by these children that they could not imagine simply walking away and never seeing them again. These were real relationships they wanted to maintain and nurture. Emma then did something that melted everyone's hearts completely. She carefully removed the beautiful tiara that Kate had given her and held it out toward the princess. With tears in her eyes, Emma said that real princesses should share their crowns with other princesses who were just as special. Kate was overwhelmed by Emma's generous spirit. She gently pushed the tiara back toward the little girl and explained that this crown belonged to Emma forever. Kate said that Emma had earned it through her incredible bravery and would always be a true princess in her heart. But Emma insisted that she wanted Kate to have something special too. The little girl reached under her pillow and pulled out her favorite colored pencil. It was purple and had been worn down to half its original size from drawing so many princess pictures. Emma pressed the purple pencil into Kate's hand and said it was magic because it had drawn so many happy dreams. She wanted Kate to keep it so she could remember their friendship whenever she saw the color purple. Kate accepted the precious gift with shaking hands and promised to treasure it always. William was equally moved when 7-year-old Michael offered to share his teddy bear courage with the prince. Michael said that William might need some extra courage for his important royal duties. William was so touched that he could barely speak as he thanked the generous little boy. The other children began offering their own small gifts to their new royal friends. Sarah gave Kate a bookmark she had made from cardboard and crayons. Tommy shared a photo of his dog Buddy, saying that Kate could keep it until Tommy got home to see his pet again. Each gift was precious not because of its monetary value, but because it represented the pure love these children were sharing despite their own struggles and pain. Kate and William accepted every offering with deep gratitude and genuine emotion. As the time for departure approached, Kate made one final promise that brought tears to every eye in the room. She said that whenever any of these children felt scared or lonely, they should remember that a real princess was thinking about them and sending them love across the miles. William added that they were all heroes in his eyes and that their stories would inspire him to be braver in his own life. He promised that whenever he faced difficult decisions as a future king, he would remember the courage he had witnessed in this hospital room. The parents were crying openly now as they watched their children receive such genuine love and attention from people they had only seen on television before. Mary Thompson could hardly believe that her simple letter had led to this incredible day that was giving her daughter more joy than months of expensive treatments. Kate stood up and made one more announcement that surprised everyone, including William. She said that she would personally ensure that the pediatric ward received new art supplies, toys, and books every month. But more importantly, she promised that she would never forget the lessons these children had taught her about true strength and happiness. The room was filled with so much love and emotion that it felt like a sacred space. Hospital staff members who had witnessed the entire afternoon were wiping tears from their eyes. They had seen many touching moments in their careers, but nothing had ever moved them like watching these genuine connections form between the royal couple and their young patients. As Kate prepared to say goodbye, she looked around the room at each precious face. She memorized Emma's bright smile under her sparkling tiara, Michael's determined expression as he hugged his teddy bear, and James' excited eyes as he planned his future football career. These images would stay with her forever. The promises made that day were not just polite words spoken for public relations. They came from hearts that had been permanently changed by witnessing the incredible strength of children, facing life's greatest challenges with unwavering hope and courage. The time had finally come for Prince William and Kate to leave Liverpool Children's Hospital, but saying goodbye felt almost impossible after the deep connections they had formed with these extraordinary children and families. Every face in the pediatric ward had become precious to them. Kate took one last look around the room that had changed her life forever. Emma was still wearing her sparkling tiara and clutching the magic wand William had given her. Michael held his teddy bear Courage close to his heart. James was practicing the card tricks he had learned. Each child represented a lesson in bravery that would stay with Kate always. The entire ward gathered to say farewell to their new friends. Children who were able to stand formed a line to give final hugs. Those in wheelchairs or too weak to get up reached out their hands for gentle touches. The love flowing between everyone was so powerful it seemed to fill the air with golden light. William knelt down to speak privately with each child one more time. He whispered special words of encouragement and repeated his promises to return as a friend, not just as royalty. His eyes were red from crying, but his smile was genuine and full of hope for their futures. Kate moved slowly from bed to bed, taking extra time with the children who had touched her heart most deeply. She hugged Emma for a long moment and promised to write her first letter within a week. She told Michael that she would think of him every time she needed to be brave. She assured James that she would be cheering for him from the palace. The parents were overwhelmed with gratitude that went far beyond words. Mary Thompson tried to thank Kate for giving Emma the most magical day of her childhood. But Kate stopped her and said that Emma had given her the greater gift by teaching her what real courage looked like. Linda Peterson, Michael's mother, pressed a small photo into Kate's hand. It showed Michael before he lost his hair, smiling while playing in their back garden. She wanted Kate to remember her son as the happy, healthy boy he would be again someday. Kate promised to keep the picture in her private study. Hospital staff lined the corridors as the royal couple walked slowly toward the exit. Many of them had tears in their eyes after witnessing something truly extraordinary. Nurse Sarah Johnson spoke for everyone when she told Kate and William that they had brought more healing to the ward in one afternoon than months of medicine. Dr. Martinez thanked them for reminding her why she had become a pediatric doctor. She said watching them connect with her patients had renewed her passion for helping children fight their battles against illness. The love she had witnessed would inspire her work for years to come. As William and Kate reached the hospital entrance, they turned back for one final wave to the children watching from the ward windows above. Little hands pressed against the glass, waving goodbye to their new friends. Hearts were breaking at the separation, but spirits were soaring with hope and joy. The impact of their visit began spreading far beyond the hospital walls within hours. Families quietly shared stories on social media about the genuine compassion they had experienced. Photos of children smiling while wearing crowns and practicing magic tricks touched hearts around the world. People who read about the visit were inspired to help in their own communities. Donations to Liverpool Children's Hospital increased dramatically as individuals wanted to support the place where such beautiful moments had happened. Toy stores received requests for magic wands and tiaras to donate to sick children. Other hospitals began receiving surprise visits from local celebrities and community leaders who had been moved by the royal example of personal connection over publicity. The ripple effect of love continued spreading as more people realized the healing power of genuine human compassion. Kate kept every promise she had made that day. Within a week, Emma received a personal letter written in Kate's own handwriting. Michael got updates about palace life and encouragement for his treatments. James received a signed football jersey and promises to attend his first game when he was healthy. The monthly deliveries of art supplies, toys, and books began arriving at the hospital exactly as Kate had promised. But more importantly, she and William returned for private visits without any media attention. They celebrated birthdays, treatment completions, and recovery milestones with their young friends. Years later, when people asked Prince William and Kate about their most meaningful royal experience, they would always think of that tearful Tuesday in Liverpool. It was the day they learned that true nobility comes not from titles or ceremonies, but from the courage to love completely and the wisdom to recognize heroism in the smallest packages. Emma eventually recovered from her illness and kept every letter Kate had written to her. She grew up to become a children's nurse, inspired by the healing power of compassion she had experienced. Michael beat his cancer and became a motivational speaker, sharing his story of courage with other young patients. James had his heart completely repaired and did play football for Liverpool's youth team just as he had dreamed. At his first game, Kate and William were in the stands cheering loudly as he scored the winning goal. The magic of that hospital day had created bonds that lasted a lifetime. The legacy of their visit continued long after the children had grown up and moved on with their lives. The story became a reminder that in a world often focused on fame and fortune, the most precious moments happen when hearts connect across all barriers of status or circumstance. Love truly is the most powerful medicine of all.